Welcome to the Christian Liberation Organization. This is AE13. Preface. Let's start this study with a peek at the Old Testament. Since CLO is studying the Greek of the New Testament, the Old Testament is not a part. This is not because the Old Testament is not important, but simply due to CLO pursuing the New Covenant truths. The Old Testament all points to the New Testament beginning of Jesus Christ's New Covenant. Thus, it holds important value for understanding all of what the New Covenant is. In reference to this study on hell, it is a valuable consideration to know that the creation account in Genesis of the Old Testament does not mention hell. Neither does the Pentateuch, neither does the historical, wisdom, or poetry books of the Old Testament. Even the prophets never mention hell. In fact, hell is not mentioned anywhere in the Old Testament. That is not true, you say. Hell is mentioned in the 39 books of the Old Testament 66 times by the King James Version. Well, we agree. It is mentioned in the translations of the Old Testament. However, the Hebrew word translated in the Old Testament as hell is Sheol. This does not mean a place of eternal torment. Sheol simply means the place of the dead. It's where people go when they die, with no reference to condition of it. We haven't known the difference partially because Sheol is translated as hell like a number of Greek words in the New Testament. Also, we haven't known the difference due to never having seen Sheol or hell of the New Testament. So it is an unseen place, which correlates to one of the New Testament Greek words translated as hell. Thus, this study is paramount in knowing what hell is, as the first century believers did. AE13, hell. Greek words translated: Gehenna, a noun. A valley southwest of Jerusalem where Israel sacrificed children to Moloch, and later, to witness, was an experience of unfathomable horror due to the unending fire burning the trash, dead animals, and criminals. Hades, a noun, an unseen place. Tartaru, a verb, the place of punishment fit only for demons. Skotos, a noun, darkness, obscurity. Scotia, a noun, moral and spiritual obscurity. Skotenos, an adjective, result of darkness, obscurity. Skia, a noun, the shadow of God's light or spiritual darkness. Pur, a noun, the uninterrupted privilege of God's purifying fire that transforms into light and likeness with himself. Note: of interest is the number of times each of these words that are considered hell are used in the Greek of the New Testament. Tartaru, just once. Skotenos, just 3 times. Skia, 7. Hades, 10. Gehenna, 12. Scotia, 16. Skotos, 31. And Pur, 74 times. Scripture example 1 of 8. Luke 10:15. And you, Capernaum, who are exalted to heaven, will be brought down to Hades. The first century version, with hell translated, and you, Capernaum, who are exalted to heaven, will be brought down to the unseen place. Note: the Greek has a definite article "the" before Hades, but it was removed by the translators. Scripture example 2 of 8. Acts 2:27. For you will not leave my soul in Hades, nor will you allow your Holy One to see corruption. The first century version, with hell translated, for you will not leave my soul in the unseen place, nor will you allow your Holy One to see corruption. Scripture example 3 of 8. 2 Peter 2:4. For if God did not spare the angels who sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved for judgment. The first century version, with hell translated, for if God did not spare the angels who sinned, but cast them down to the place of punishment fit only for demons and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved for judgment. Scripture example 4 of 8. Matthew 8:12. But the sons of the kingdom will be cast out into outer darkness. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. First century version, with hell translated. But the sons of the kingdom will be cast out into outer darkness obscurity. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Scripture example 5 of 8. Ephesians 5:8. For you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. First century version. For you were once darkness obscurity, but now you are light in the Lord. Scripture example 6 of 8. Matthew 13:42. And will cast them into the furnace of fire. There will be wailing and gnashing of teeth. First century version, with fire translated. And will cast them into the furnace of the uninterrupted privilege of God's purifying fire that transforms into light and likeness with himself. There will be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Note, here we see how what has been perceived as the torment of hell is in reality God's love. This is difficult to accept for all of us raised in the Christian church of damnation. This shows the depth of God's love for all of mankind. Some say this is universalism. Far from everyone goes to heaven. The reality this shows is it will be horrible to experience. So much so that there will be crying out and tremendous discomfort. It is not God providing it, however. It is of our own doing, which is illustrated by the description of what is taking place. It is a furnace, like when silver is purified. Like the dross being burned away, so will anything within that is not light or God's likeness. The experience will be the removal of one's choices during life. Scripture example 7 of 8. Matthew 6:23. But if your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in you is darkness, how great is that darkness? First century version, with two forms of darkness translated. But if your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of the result of darkness obscurity. If therefore the light that is in you is darkness obscurity, how great is that darkness obscurity? Note, the word is after great is not in the Greek. Scripture example 8 of 8. Matthew 4:16. The people who sat in darkness have seen a great light, and upon those who sat in the region and shadow of death, light has dawned. The first century version, with shadow and darkness translated. The people who sat in moral and spiritual obscurity have seen a great light, and upon those who sat in the region and the shadow of the death, light has dawned. Conclusion. It is a hard pill to swallow, but one that gives greater understanding to the depth of God's love. Hell is not what we have been told. The words translated as hell, fire, or darkness in the New Testament are either a literal dump where human sacrifices were made in the past, an unseen place, a place for only demons, darkness, obscurity, moral and spiritual obscurity, the result of darkness, obscurity, the shadow of God's light or spiritual darkness, a place sin is burned away, resulting in God's likeness. Are there this many places referred in the translations as hell? It appears that one is describing the place only for demons, not mankind, and one is where sin is burned away with weeping and gnashing teeth, but results in being made into God's image, and the others all describe the latter. CLO encourages everyone to take this understanding of these words and apply them to every scripture that includes them.